Yeah, we don't do. We just. Here's what we do. On Monday, we just usually roughly we get a time together, and most of the time we try to talk Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, but we rarely do because Joel has Sunday jam or whatever, and I have stuff going on. So
it's usually the Lord's Day. Okay, just show some respect real quick.
So we we just meet up here Monday, and we used to when we very first started, we were really good about being like, hey, let's study, and we'll come in here with all of these topics. Not anymore, though.
Well, I feel like it's per week, right? I feel like some weeks we come in here and something has happened, and you're like, all right, we're going to do that. And then sometimes we've had a really good weekend, and then I'll come in and we're both feeling fine, and we're like, hey, let's just jam this one out. But Randy's good at saying, oh, by the way, even if we do jam this out, I need to promote this show. We need to talk about this. And like last week, he came in and he was like, we need to have a closing. You know what I'm saying? He was like, we just quit talking. So, there's small little, what I like about it is there's small little changes each time,
We're getting there.
But I personally, straight up, I like them both. I like both formats. Like to have a set list and run off of that. And then,
it's funny that you bring that up because I just spent all day editing that episode from a few weeks back. Of us talking about set lists and planning.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went through a whole thing of cutting a bunch of social media clips of you talking about how terrible at planning you are.
Yeah, Otis and I think Otis is the person that I've been on the road with the most consecutive days in a row.
Yeah.
And so when I showed him that on the way here, he was like, oh, that's you for sure. How was your weekend? Hey, I mean, that's the great place to start, I think.
So how long have you been back in Chattanooga?
Hours,
I
think. We got in at 11:30 last night. Not bad. Especially coming back from Florida.
12.
Yeah, about 12.
Nice. So what do you think? Suwannee, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Always thumbs up.
Always.
I think that everybody collectively can agree. I don't know. Ask everybody in the Southeast. 75% of the people, when you ask them, hey, what's your favorite place to go to a festival? They're going to say Suwanee.
You think
Live
so?
Oak, Florida.
Yeah.
I'm almost sure that number is pretty accurate. And if even that 75% of people, like, you could probably walk up to them and say, hey, do you completely understand why Suwanee is thought this way by the community? And the answer would be yes. And that festival grounds has literally, like, it has all the way from Halloween to, Bass Drop Central, amp jams for the live jam community last weekend in February, the whole last weekend in Florida. And then you have Roots, which is where I was, which there's barely drummers there, So that one festival grounds holds every genre of music.
Yeah. A ton of, Live Oak stays jamming pretty much every weekend, right? Like they have a festival going pretty much all the time, right?
And the more that you play shows down there, the more, you meet those production guys. They're asking you, even if you're not playing, they're asking you to come down and work it every weekend.
Yeah.
We're getting calls every week. Hey, we need this and this. And so it's a very busy place. But you go down to the people that work full-time there, and they're the happy as a lark. The work environment and the mental health is just wonderful, and the whole production staff, really amazing. And it's really cool when you can go back and see, like, a front of house person evolve positively. Like, their production staff, they're getting better. They're elevating. They're always doing new things. one of the guys that works in the back doing artist hospitality had come out with a new album.
Really?
So just super cool stuff that I think
That's great. That's a good time. That's a good thing. Man.
Yeah,
right.
man.
Oh, I just happen to have my new album back here with all of these. Hey.
Yep. And he's been working. I mean, I've seen him for
He's been there a
6
long
years
time.
now. And dude, he was like, I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Man, I just separated from my fiance of 11 years and I'm recording a new album and I'm, moving forward." And just a guy that I'd known for so long, to be able to check in on him at the same event twice a year. It's a gift, man. So, and not only that, but then I brought Austin Otis from Ketchikan down. So literally, instead of playing music and making connections that way, my only job was, hey, this guy's from Alaska? That was my only job. Just try to, in that cultural exchange. And what I found was everybody had a question that they had wanted to ask an Alaskan their whole life,
Yeah.
And some of them are hilarious, and some of them are actually really practical,
Yeah.
So there was
What's the funniest question?
always, are there penguins? Where are the penguins? Where are the
there penguins in
Yeah,
Alaska?
where are the penguins?
Dude,
Where are the penguins? And then there's a bunch of people don't know, but a bunch of racist questions that people will ask about Native people.
Really?
Again, they don't know it's they don't. All right, here's an example.
Yeah,
all right,
please.
so we were in
I don't want to be racist.
we were
Please
in
help me.
Ketchikan. Yeah, we were in Ketchikan, and we were doing we're at the totem park, and Ketchikan has the most Native totems of any city in Alaska per capita, because Juneau holds the record now, but that's just because Juneau was competing, to see if they could beat Ketchikan. Anyway, whatever. So this guy goes, this lady raises her hand, and she goes, "Did the Eskimos make these?" And you heard the dust fall on the concrete floor. And the guy looked at the lady, and he started talking. She said, No, I didn't ask about you. I asked about the Eskimos." Another silence fell, and the guy smiled and started laughing. And he looked at the lady and he said, "I can't tell you how racist what you just said is, so I'm just going to laugh and tell you to never say that word again."
Oh, yeah.
And it's just little things like that, where people are assertive. A white person is still assertive to press a Native, an indigenous person. You owe me an answer. No, you still see the ingrained generational trauma of that. So there's small things that you never would know that this is culturally inappropriate unless you were alone thousands of miles away. So it's really funny hearing, I got to watch Otis literally field as many questions as he could get, rocket fired. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was awesome. And that cultural exchange alone, I don't know how many Alaskans have been to Suwannee Roots. I definitely don't know. I know that the mayor of a town needs to go to as many states as possible. So I wanted to get the mayor to Florida. He'd never been to Florida. And then Otis had never been to a music festival. So holy smokes.
So what do they do in Alaska if they don't have music festivals or?
Well, music festivals, the allure of, and they have Salmon Fest. Salmon Fest is one, but you don't have
a bunch of bands.
You don't have Bonnaroo. You don't have all these thousands of people camping in a field. Yeah. It's not hip, right? A bunch of Southerners were like, "Yeah, let's go camping." In Alaska, it's
yeah, you can't do that. It's different. There's predators,
mosquitoes. You can't just put up a fence around. And so there's a whole level of safety and stuff, and also cultural interest.
I got you.
But
did you see any band that you were like, "Wow, didn't know who that was. I'm glad I saw them"? Was there anybody that you knew? Did you go check out anybody new? Oh,
let me think. Well, because I'm a huge, I'm trying to go really, because there was one specific band that I saw that I But Tire Fire are my friends. Tire Fire is that was their big, that was a break for them to play Suwannee roots.
Suwannee, that's cool.
Probably
Where are they from?
Atlanta, Georgia-ish, northern Florida, that kind of. Some of the best jam band banjo I've ever heard.
Really? With Tire Fire? Really?
I've been waiting to tell you about it.
Yeah.
Tire Fire.
Who's the banjo player?
To meter. I'll send you everything about. I'll send you everything. Bunch of my friends are in it, and I really wanted to hear that because 10 years ago there was legend about somebody that could play the banjo faster than you'd ever heard in your entire life. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about like fast. I'm talking about to meter rhythm. Yeah. And dude, full band now. This particular guy he'd pushed back against all of his name is Trey, and he'd pushed back against all of the traditional folk pressure in all of the jams when somebody couldn't have a rhythm player. He would start a new jam and make sure that all the percussionists came over and played with him. You know, he was just very accepting of the Bluegrass movement. And so Tire Fire is a great example of that right now. And I love when the jam band genre mixes with whatever genre, you know.
Well, that's that jamgrass thing, right? That's
Jamgrass.
Been going on for a while. Yarn and all those bands.
Well, and there are jam bands and then there are bands that jam, right? That's what Otis also noticed and I were talking about going down. There are jam bands and bands that jam. There are people that's sole focus getting on stage is to jam. That is why they wrote a song. They call their songs not songs. They call them jam vehicles. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but then there are bands that are songwriters and really good instrumentalists. And they're not about to sit there and not get their shot to play some jams out. And then there are people that are songwriters, and you'll never hear them jam it. It's going to be just like that, you know, through the course of their life. And then there's players like Nora Jones, for example, that are incredible songwriter. And then if it hits in a live show, they're going to jam it out, maybe a few more measures, but they're not going to take it, you know. So that was interesting talking to Otis about that.
Is it a ton of jam bands at Suwannee?
There's jam festivals, but this was like a roots festival. So there's the biggest jam element was that Colonel Bruce, it was like his favorite festival to play. But even Bruce was the most electrified act there. So it's predominantly bluegrass, folk, and roots music.
Oh, that's cool.
Incredible. You would have loved it. You really would have, man. Peter Rowan's walking around, and like Joe Craven's walking around, just hanging out.
Yeah,
like it's very much old school in that way, you know.
Did you get to talk to Peter Rowan?
I don't go out of my way to talk to anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like any of those festivals, whatever, you don't sneak off and be like, hey, check it out. This is so and so.
No.
That's interesting. How come? I mean, I'm not saying like, you know,
out of respect,
we should be worshiping, you know, whatever. But
it's out of respect for the natural way, like the natural way of life. Like I would like to give an opportunity to the musician to experience me, for us to have a human experience rather than a musical experience. So to me, and this is really far out, but like David Gans, right? I walked by him and nodded to him probably 15 times. There was so much space for a conversation. But I love feeling that space just dissipate. You see the look on the musician's face. They're trying to make eye contact with you, but not for a long time. Mm-hmm. There's very little presence. I look for presence, like in the moment. Like if I'm going to talk to somebody and they're standing in a room doing this, go up and talk to them. But if they're not making eye contact with anybody in the room and they're trying to skirt and they're tired and they just want to eat.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know, and because that's when I'm seeing them. I'm seeing them when they're on the way to a show or when they're eating dinner, literally sitting down. We're at the same table, you know, and I won't, hey, you doing all right? Man, that's awesome, man. I hope you're doing good, brother. And that's about it.
Yeah. I see, I keep having this like moment. I keep seeing Larry Fleet. Larry Fleet lives in Red Bank, you know, and he's just a huge country star. I keep seeing him randomly right around town. I saw him at Waffle House. I saw him at the barbershop. You know, he's a big songwriter.
Yeah.
And I always want to be like, yo, man, I got some songs for you. But it's like, I'm a fan. He also has a podcast, which is pretty good.
I also know that like I don't mean to be, but I'm an intense person. You know, like if you don't know who I am and I'm making full eye contact with you and speaking like very intensely, you know, believing what I'm saying, people don't really believe that I'm genuine very frequently in the public sector. And when I'm just being honest, like when I like meet people of that, it takes about 2 or 3 times before they're like, oh yeah, that guy is consistently that way.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, if you never introduce yourself or talk to them the first time, you never get a chance to get to 2 or 3 times, man. They just think you're that way with other people, and you just ignore them.
No, I think smiling and acknowledging that, like, man, you don't want to talk to me.
I gotcha. Yeah.
I'll talk to anyone, dude, if they want to talk to me. I'll talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
Anybody, you know, and a lot of the guys, you know, that is how I met Joe, but how I met Joe Craven was he got on to me because he thought I was talking in the back of his workshop. Have you ever heard? So
No,
like,
please, let's
yeah,
hear it.
man. So at Suwannee Roots,
What workshop?
Suwannee Roots, Joe Craven and his daughter and his daughter's when I say phenomenal vocalist, I mean like she sings properly. She is she's very good at communicating how to do what she's doing. So anyway, they were doing like a workshop on how to sing and how to vocally express yourself. So of course I was there, and I was in the back though because I was with JB Ritter, who is for the Farmers stage. He's the sound guy. He's the sound guy every year. JB, I love him. You know, OG, and so I'm standing back there in silence. Well, Jim Stanford, who works at Artist Hospitality, comes in behind me. And he goes, "Hey Joel, hey, how's it going? Oh, how's it going, Joel? Joel, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Yo, Jim, like, Joe's talking." You know, he's like, "He can't hear us. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Joe Craven can't hear us." You know, I'm like, "Dude, it's Joe Craven. Like, chill out." You know what I'm saying? Like, show some respect, dude. Because this is thousands of dollars that he's just like handing out in education. So we're sitting there. I'm telling him that. While I'm telling him that, I hear like a shuffle. And I thought it was somebody walking in. Joe Craven has walked from the front of the room to the back of the room. His back is now to everyone else, and he is facing me 5 feet in front of me. And he goes, "Sir, is that correct?" I go, "Excuse me?" He said, "What I just said is music, is purity an element of music," or something like that. And I was like, "Absolutely, 100%.
You took the gamble?
And he was like, "Oh, so that's what you think?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's 110% what I think." And like the way that he's like, basically, shut up. You know, he's looking at me like, be quiet. And I'm looking at him like, I'm fine, dude. Like, I haven't done anything like this, as opposed to being like, man, I'm sorry I wasn't listening. Like, because I didn't do anything wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's how we met. And
So you knew what he was saying, or were you just taking the gamble?
I did know what he was saying. I did know what he was saying, and I totally had been tracking what he was saying. So much so that like I did care. Like I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there. And so that was the first way I ever met him. He just absolutely just, after I said, "Yeah, that's the hill I'm going to die on," basically, he was just like, "Well, that's very interesting," and then walked to the front. You know.
Good for you.
Yeah. So
it's funny. I've done that. I mean, I feel like I fail that quiz all the time.
Yeah, man.
Where you're having a conversation with somebody and then just one thing happens and you're like, you get off the conversation for a second and then all of a sudden you go back to it literally like 2 seconds later and they're like, oh, they ask a question or hit you with something and you're like, I don't have the context for this. I don't really know.
But
that's why I don't know. Maybe that's human nature, but sometimes I'd take the gamble too. I'm just like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I say yes? Because I meant no.
Well, I'd rather, and I knew that he would respect this in this moment if we had the conversation again, which obviously we did and we're fine now. But like, I was like, you'd rather me be hot or cold because you can't work with, you can't work with like, I don't know, maybe in a classroom. You know what I'm saying? Like you can work on yes or no, And so I think that personally, I'm not somebody you can meet one time and all right, well, that's that guy. Like it's something that consistency is one of my gifts and that's not experienced when you meet me one time.
Yeah.
And so anyway, have you ever gotten
You're an onion. You have layers.
I'm like Shrek, brother.
Yeah.
I'm like, do donkeys have layers too? Was that? Have you ever met anybody that was larger than life and something like that happened?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever bombed in front of?
Dude, yes, very much so. Buddy Cannon came to watch me play one time, and Buddy Cannon's a very big time songwriter. If you went through and looked at all of his stuff, you'd be like, oh my goodness.
Ooh, yeah.
I played this. It was like a kind of a random one-off, like a Sunday afternoon show on the way in Jackson, Tennessee, on the way home from Memphis. I'd gone out there and played. I was coming home from Memphis and I was playing this thing, and the guy looked familiar. I couldn't place where it was or where I knew him from, but it was at the end. I mean, we're on our way home. I was whooped. We'd done like 4 straight shows or something, and I was by myself. It was just me and Christy. And I just remember not playing great. I remember being okay, playing okay, and then realizing who he was partially through the set of being like, wait a minute, is that Buddy Cannon sitting out there? And so then I had been playing some originals, but then I really started pouring on the originals heavy, just to see. I got a couple reactions from him, which was cool, but not recognizing right out of the gate, or really just I don't feel like I performed my best that day. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I've done that in front of, many heroes of mine I performed in front of and just felt like, I don't know, just felt terrible about the way I played. But I do that a lot anyway, I guess. I'm starting to just get used to that. What about you? You get used to that? Or do you,
no, I was just actually, that's great because I was trying to figure out how to word the question. No, I never get used to it, man. I wouldn't, because I don't.
I don't think that like you.
Yeah, I don't get over it. Yeah.
Well, like even when it didn't change the way I played,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, it's maybe a little more like, once I figured out who he was,
right.
But it wasn't like I played any different. Obviously, I couldn't play better than I was playing. You know what I mean?
I just don't know protocol. Like, because in Nashville, if somebody was famous, you just didn't talk to them. That was protocol.
Yeah.
That was.
You leave them alone.
Yeah, I know how to act normal around somebody famous in that regard. Influential, whatever. But I don't. That's one of the gifts, I guess, is because I just treat somebody like they're a person.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. But people that want to be treated in another kind of way, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes I'll bomb simply because I'm talking to them like I would anybody else. And there's a level that's not used to that with some people,
Mm-hmm. It's funny now taking that, what you're saying, and flipping that on a transverse and using bombed as a conversation as opposed to a performance, because that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Like I bombed as by performing in front of these people.
Oh, yeah.
As conversation, I don't really think I've really like eaten it hard in front of somebody.
Okay.
Or only like there's a couple of really famous people that I've worked with in the past, and in the process of working on art, we've had disagreements, but it was never really like, like a bomb or anything,
right?
Or like,
right,
or like this didn't go, like I was worried something was going to happen or
mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah, there's like a protocol because I don't know. That's kind of a recent thing for me because we've over the years I've just been playing festivals and what I was taught was to go out of the way to hang out with the fans, not the people in the green room.
Yeah.
Nobody ever gave me protocol to like do that, to like talk. Dude, we all did YouTube lessons. We all went and had courses. We all went to practice all this stuff, but nobody set me down and said, "Hey, man, when you meet your hero, like
that
nobody,
is a tough one, man.
Nobody gave me a rundown of, hey, man, when you have your gear and 6 of the bands are people that you know, and you're at a festival, how do you get to a place where you can play with them after the show? Like what's the protocol? Like what are the social parameters? And I think that that's kind of ever evolving. Like where there was a time where you could ask to sit in, I think that time is gone.
Really?
I think that time is socially like
in jam band scene.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're a friend, if that person's a friend, be like, brother, like, let me get some of that, like, but everything's all about collaboration now to the point of where if there's no clout, it's probably not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything's about number. Like it's very interesting. It's not about interest in it's not about my interest in your ability or your content. It's all about your number,
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have an Instagram that I can point people to that won't present a certain thing, then I'm not going to promote it. It's very, I don't know. Maybe that's always been the case, like it to an extent, but the way that it is manifesting, I don't think has ever been
met like this.
One
of the things that I think is, or that I've noticed at festivals, just like Suwannee, when I very first started playing festivals, I didn't really know anybody, and it was kind of weird and intimidating in the back and the whatever. But as the years have gone by and you start playing festivals, and many of the people that you play on that are on the same festival, you've played shows with them in Newport, Kentucky,
That's
or
right.
in somewhere
Mm-hmm.
else where they've come to Chattanooga,
Mm-hmm.
and they've talked, and you've talked. Then all of a sudden, it's kind of a different deal. You know what
100%.
I mean? Because it is a lot. Even though, because this is kind of the thing that nobody the celebrities or the influential people at every festival, whatever, they're in the minority. They're always in the minority. There's always a lot more people than there is that. So there's always a lot more people to hang out with than just
mm-hmm.
the 1 or 2 people who are,
mm-hmm.
and usually all those people are really cool and they're always involved with music
mm-hmm.
in some way. I met a tour manager who tour manages for a huge artist
mm-hmm.
not too long ago and hung out with him a bit, and super cool. I mean, absolutely one of the coolest people, very knowledgeable, learned a lot about just in general how their world works, which is, 2 or 3 steps ahead of mine. And it was really neat.
That's
it's
so
really
cool.
neat seeing how it functions in another way. And that's something that even this particular huge artist doesn't
mm-hmm.
know. The tour manager knows
mm-hmm.
this. The artist is in the point where all they have to do is write songs.
Right. It's fantastic. And meeting those people, I mean, that's one of the things that I really like specifically about festivals is it's tourism. It is tourism.
Yeah, definitely.
But the demographic that would camp outside, the demographic that would do that 3 nights in a row, add allowing families to be a part of, add all-day party to be allowed of it, add a positive mental attitude to almost be a prerequisite because people will call you on it.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy in line and he was given the hush puppy lady a kind of a difficult time, and the guy behind him said, "Hey, brother, you're going to get real far with that attitude." Like, and the guy didn't even know him, and so it's that demographic of people that are going to hold each other accountable, and by the way, know how to party, and by the way, know how to take care of themselves outside, and by the way, know how to get along with each other and are into the same music. There's some really cool connections that are going to happen there where you will meet those people, and you guys, what got you there are so many similar interests that you almost don't have to worry about the content or the talking points of that conversation. You just start talking.
Yeah.
Because you know that you're around like-minded people. And man, like, I think the first rule, we'll go to the festival topic. The first rule of the festival that I showed Otis, I brought him to his first festival, and I said, right when he came in the gate, I said, first rule, put your phone up. Don't ask where anybody is. Just think in your mind about that person and start walking. And it sounds crazy, but they'll be there. That's a festival. And it happened for 4 days, just continued to happen. We would wonder about somebody, out of 5,000 people. I wonder where Barb is, Well, let's walk 500 feet that way. I bet she's in that area. And the first person we saw when we got there. So it's just so cool how it's very encouraging to that effect of like, there are good people we met great people that worked for NASA, just hanging out at the festival, great people that were parents, who fell into a great situation and literally are full-time parents for their kids and letting them experience stuff. And I just think it's so cool. People that are struggling with stuff, family problems, it just comes up. And it was like, when you are showing somebody your world again for the 1,000th time, you're seeing it with a new perspective. And the one cool thing that I saw is that in the South, we talked about the family aspect of festivals. There were kids running around everywhere. There were people staying up till 5 a.m. And everywhere in between.
I did that with my kids. I stayed up till 5 a.m. while the wife slept with them in the trailer.
Right.
And our kids ran around Bluegrass festivals when they were little all the time.
And so this is stuff that, I get jaded to. My eyes gray over.
Yeah.
And, being able to see it with new eyes, was a cool thing. So, and it was colorful. LASIK, man. Florida. Crazy.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It was a beautiful, like we had 4 days of pure sun. Obviously, we got sunburnt and all that stuff.
Sunburn?
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's not showing.
Took off my shirt and blinded the whole festival.
Oh, man. So those, like when you're bumping into those people or you're having those conversations and you're like when you're like, how does that come? Like I get the first two examples, but the conversation where you're like, this guy's having family problems, this guy's having a rough time. How does that come up at a festival?
Here's an example. So yesterday, Otis and I looked at each other and we were like, I think we'd eaten 10 hush puppies apiece the day before. There were these jalapeno cheddar hush puppies that were like oddly good. But I hadn't done just food trucks at festivals in a long time.
Yeah.
I'd just done, the artist food. So I was like, forget it. We're doing just food trucks. Anyway, we're getting the hush puppies. Look to the left. Zach Grimes is sitting there.
Nice.
Okay. Zach's sitting over there. Hey, I'm going to take the lemonade over there. And he's sitting with a couple elders. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's his teachers that he works with. That's great. Sit down. I find out very quickly he doesn't know these people at all.
Oh, really?
So we're sitting down at this picnic table, which ended up being about 2.5 hours. And people just come sitting down at this table, and we have a rotating. This older guy is calling it. He's holding court basically, and this rotating cast of people is coming and sitting down. And we're like, "Well, how'd you get here?" And the guy goes, "Well, I'm gonna be honest." And he's probably about what was he, 70? I think he was 70. He said, yeah, he was exactly 70. He said, I like prog rock. He's like, Kansas, yes, Humphreys, etc. He was like, I'm not too into this roots stuff. You know, he's like, my wife comes out every year and I bring her out and she hangs out with her friends. And it's a big group of ladies, 20, 25 ladies that meet every year at this festival. And I said, and what do you do? And he says, I sit at this table and talk to people. And so we started talking. And so through the course of, you know, these people sitting at this aluminum, slightly shaded, hot picnic table, we get to talk to all these people and they just start bringing up stuff. And eventually, after you get to talking to somebody long enough and they see that who you're sitting with and everything, they started opening up. So we talked to about, I don't know, 8 people in the course of that. It's just fantastic, you know, because after it was on Sunday. So if you're looking at me, I'm sunburnt. Like I look like a guy that, you know, is going to be at the festival, you know. And so everybody starts becoming family by Sunday.
Yeah.
Because they've seen you for the thousand. Yeah. They've seen you play, you know.
You've held the door open for each other at the porta potty.
Yeah, exactly. And played Frisbee with the same kid, you know, toss it, you know. And it was just, there were so many things that happen on stage, so much collaboration. And what that shows, if there's collaboration with the musicians, it encourages collaboration amongst the festival. So people talking to people bringing up, oh, well, I was a big fan of Joe Craven. I didn't know Tire Fire. And when he sat in with them, oh, man, you didn't know Tire Fire? Oh, those are my buddies. Trey's a great guy. Sean, one of the kindest bass players I've ever met, you know, and they're collaborating. So you see that kind of jovial social response to each other that you don't see socially in public. You know,
yeah, I think that may just be festival atmosphere.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah,
because even non-music festivals, you see a bunch of people stroll up, like Camp at the Ocoee or something like that. People start throwing out. You start setting 100%. Up a tent next to somebody. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody blowing up an air mattress. Like, hold on, dude. I gotta pump. Let me give you.
Can't believe you.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch you do this for a few minutes and video a little bit, and then I'll go get a pump.
And then I'll get you. Hey, and then they go, you know what, man? You can have that pump. Mine's electric. Like I got. But the Coe is a great spot too.
There's something about that, like camping. You know, like setting up a thing. You got brand new neighbors or something. It kind of does include. You know, it does make that.
In the personality of the campsites, like that was another thing showing everybody around.
They do a whole thing where they name them or something.
Oh, man, there's Sloppery Land. You would love Sloppery Land. Sloppery Land specifically there, it's specifically folk and bluegrass. Mm-hmm. You can bring a drum over there, but that eventually is edged out. But they go from about 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., you know, and it's just not amateur, but it's like not paid, you know, just keep playing all night. And then some of the, you know, tents, they have their extravagant lighting, black light. There was this one bubble machine that we stood in the middle of for about an hour and just watched bubbles, you know, go by.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's a cool time.
Nice. All right, there's a bubble machine. What else? What other kind of things are at this spot, man?
Bubble machine. All right, that was the frog that had the Jerry Garcia guitar in it, and in the middle it had a tapestry, and then it had a tapestry of a ship of fools, and then it had a tapestry of what was the other one? And then black lights were in front of all of it, and then lights were going on a pavilion tent. And then they had a bubble machine out front. And the bubble machine was strategically placed to where it would blow directly down River Road to the gate. So the gate was always covered in bubbles. And it was fun people watching because that's the most fun thing to do at a festival ever. And I was like, all right, there's a bubble machine. It's right after the show. There's going to be some hippies that are having a good time.
For sure, yeah.
That I can, and like there was one guy that did a a fashion walk for about 150 feet.
Nice.
You
Just
know,
roll out
it
a
just
red carpet.
oh man, and they don't know we're watching them, right? Oh man, it's so good. And you know, when you have sunglasses, you know, nobody knows you're looking anywhere, so you can just sit in a chair and just have a blast.
It's hard to walk past a whole crap ton of bubbles without trying to pop one of them at least. You know,
That's right. That's right. Some people were Matrix dodging them. You
Yeah,
know?
there you go.
100 bubbles comes out their face. Yeah, people watching, and it's the Disneyland of hippies at festivals.
Mm-hmm.
So people watching. You could sit in a field and do that for a whole day. You know.
what any like one good music highlight and all?
Okay, yeah, there was.
I know
And-
we'll talk. I know we're going to talk about it more, but just give me one.
Yeah, one. I'll give you the one. It was on Sunday. It was yesterday. Ooh.
Was it Bubble Machines?
No, it was. I mean, I couldn't stop crying. It was the first time I've cried like that in a long time, and it was during the Mosier set. And these two girls got up. One was 3 and one was 4. Have you ever heard "Thirsty in the Rain" by Peter Rowan?
I don't think so.
It's about
It's not coming to-
It's about human life and looking around and being ungrateful when you just have so much. You're thirsty in the rain, you know? And anyway, the Mosier brothers were playing, and Jeff Mosier always does something. On Sunday, he always does something that just rips your heart wide open. Anyway, 4-year-old, 3-year-old, he has them on stage, and he says, you know, if you've ever heard "Thirsty in the Rain" by Peter Rowan, because Peter Rowan had been playing all weekend. He's like, it's one of my favorite songs he's ever written. And these two, the daughters of one of the very good friends of the band, were going to sing, and they knew every word of this song.
Really?
And they sang it. And dude, if you've ever heard a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old sing purely a Peter Rowan song, like they're not singing it, you know, with vibrato, but they're singing it perfect on the tune and in time. It was giving me chills thinking about it. There was not a dry eye in the whole house. So "Thirsty in the Rain," check that song out. And Suwannee Roots is going to release that performance.
Oh, really?
There's no way.
Were they related to Jeff or something?
They were. So Matt Williams, the guitar player, his best friend is from Americus, Georgia, and their family in Americus. It got out that those girls, you know, knew that song,
yeah.
and you know, and so from that, Matt told Jeff Mosier, and Mosier is basically like the Mr. Rogers of that whole festival, you know. And I say that very reverently. He's just basically the pastor of the whole, you know, thing.
He's the Rev.
He's the Reverend. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the Rev.
Yeah. Well, cool. Appreciate you guys listening. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube page, or hit us up on the eatthebrick.com.
Spotify, and then TikTok, Instagram, all over. Come find us.
All right. Thanks. See you guys.